really nice to see people actually going through the second week and still working on the large language model engineering essential part. So the plan for today's study group is, first, I'm going to create a poll and ask everyone's progress. By the end of today or tomorrow, we are about to finish topic 1. Tomorrow, Nebius cohort, Nebius Academy, what they are going to do is they are going to answer questions within topic 1. And by the end of it, that marks the end of topic 1, and we are going to move formally to topic 2. And if you guys have some script you want Stan to talk about during the Q&A, make that suggestion, put that into the questions when you join tomorrow's cohort. He will answer it if there is time. If you have questions, put it there. And it's kind of, if they receive enough requests to talk about, let's say, section 1.3 or section 1.4, he will talk through it. And it'll be really nice to have him talk through the whole thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a poll to ask everyone's progress. Sorry, I didn't create it in advance. So let me see. Actually, maybe we don't need to well, I'm already creating 1.6 and 1.7. Okay, and so can everyone see the poll?
Yes, I can see it.
Perfect. So I have to admit, I'm currently on 1.6. I had a look of 1.7. They look really nice. I absolutely love the content of 1.7. And yeah. Oh, I can see there are 3 votes on 1.5, which is really nice, and 1 on 1.4. 1.1. Don't worry, because this is an online course. If you feel like it's a little bit too much to catch up with the whole course, I would suggest read through the material, because the exercise is only a small part of this section. The majority are actually reading materials. By just reading the content, it actually helps us a lot. Also, based on the size of the study group, I'm wondering what kind of, I want to gather ideas from everyone. What actually would motivate you to continue studying or continue learning on this route? What kind of format you would like the study group to be? And in this way, we can help each other to actually work on it together. Like, feel free to send a message on the in the chat box. If you feel like you want to turn on your microphone and talk with us, it's good as well. So the current, while we're waiting, if you are still typing, hopefully if you're still typing, if you want our study group to turn into like a way which you would love, our current strategy is to have maybe we can talk about 1 or 2 notebook going from the top. And at least for now, I feel like I can still talk about it. In a later stage, I don't know, maybe it will get a little bit struggling for me as well. We can talk the most popular one. If you want to talk about 1.4, 1.5, I can talk about it as well. And after that, I'm going to make a few breakout rooms. Because I didn't try out breakout rooms that much. If you feel like there is a section, maybe for people who finished up to 1.3, you want to talk about 1.3, you can enter that breakout room. If you want to talk about 1.4, you can enter that breakout room. So we can try this strategy. For people who just joined the chat, I want to let you know that we are currently collecting ideas for the study group. It's like what kind of format you prefer the study group to, like within this 1 hour, what do you want to talk about? Do you have any questions? Or because we can go through Q&A style of work, or we can go through just talking about the whole notebook, or we can just go straight into a breakout room. These kind of different strategies, whichever you feel like would benefit yourself for this starting journey. At the same time, we have a poll running to actually understand what is your progress currently. I can currently still the same. We have 2 at 1.1 and the majority are at 1.5. So one of the idea I was thinking about, maybe we can talk about 1.5 or something. If you have any ideas, any part you want to talk about, share that on the chat box. And please ask our volunteer to check whether you guys can send messages on chat box. So, okay. Yeah, if that is, thanks. That's a good idea. Thank you for mentioning it. Is anyone stuck on a particular topic, like any part of the sections you find it a little bit tricky, or some section which you find so interesting that you feel like you want to talk about it? Or if you did some of the work, you can talk about the work you have done, which part you have worked on, what is the progress like, and maybe little bugs you run into. Because recently, I think it just yesterday or the day before yesterday, we have one person called Gabrielle, and she shared her web app, which is using Django library. I'm not familiar with that. She made a web application, created 4 different user personas, and asked the model to write a review in that person's writing style for each book. That is really impressive. Irene.
That's my web app. I just want to say that, yeah, I'm on this call.
Lovely. It's really good to actually. Would you like to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, sure. It was really interesting to do because it took me 5 different attempts at getting the prompt of editing the prompt to get a result that I was happy with. So some of the previous iterations that didn't work so well that I didn't upload to the web app were when I asked the API to write quite a long review. So for example, maybe 300 to 400 words. Mm-hmm. If it hadn't heard of the book, by the end of the review, sometimes it would start to just completely either completely make up sentences that weren't related to the book or the author at all, or even in one case, it just started saying random words that didn't even make sentences properly, that became like unreadable. So I had to, so then I realized I needed to just tell it to write quite a short review that worked a bit better. And also I found if I didn't tell it who the author was of the book, if I didn't say, please write a review about this book from this author, it would make up the author name sometimes. So that was interesting as well. But by the end, I'd kind of, I guess, eked out eked out those issues, but I still had to really manually read through every review to make sure nothing really weird had gone on.
That's really some amazing work you did over there. I think you mentioned a few parts which is mentioned in the topic. So one of the thing is called hallucination. So basically, instead of actually making the right generation or confirm this is actually a context from some material using RAG or other solutions. Instead, it starts to just random generation having lots of imaginations. I think this can be controlled by a parameter called temperature. I think this topic was touched, I think, either in 1.6. I think in 1.6 it was touched, talking about there are few parameters you can do. One is temperature. You probably noticed that in the OpenAI API as well, and also top P, which is giving a few top solutions and you choose one of them. Another thing which is also mentioned about this type of hallucination is a smaller model like Llama 8B is generally has more hallucination probability compared with 80B, which is trained on a larger model parameters. So that would help. Depends on which type of model you are using. Because because the type of concept of a large language model, because due to this hallucination scenario, and sometimes the topic can go drifted away. It's like if you wanted to talk about book, and if it's talking too much, it might start to drifting from this topic to go to other sections as well, starting talking about I don't know, like nonsense. It could happen as well. That's why I think the majority part in topic 1, I feel like touched a lot on the prompt engineering. I think it's in part 1.4. Oh, sorry, 1.3, when it talks about basic prompting guideline. There are certain rules, something like do not answer any questions, do not answer any topics apart from what the user asks you, and do not imagine things, do not make things up. So there are specific way of talking to large language model, which stays in the system prompt to actually adjust the result. It works well with certain models, and this is how it will lead to a part which says jailbreak, because if there is system prompt to stop the model to answer certain questions, or there is kind of a software hinder to actually stop the large language model to answer questions. Did I see a raised hand or something?
Yeah, it was me. It was on accident, but it was more also because I was interested. You know that Gabrielle said about, you know, the more lengthy that she sent, so more things that are lengthy personas. I know 1.2 was talking about like tokens and tokenization, which I couldn't really I could understand it, but would that also be something to do with it? So would you have to, so if it's more restricted tokens, with the large language models more likely to give you a better answer rather than it's like you let it kind of not have a limit? I'm not sure or not, but
so that's a very good question actually. So when it comes to token, just a few months ago, majority of the large language model are fixed on 8K tokens. And when I mentioned OpenAI has 128K and Claude has 128K, and I talked with Gemma team, they were like, yeah, we're working on that. And then just after a few months, everyone is on 128, even higher K. So what the token does, So when we actually predict, when we actually do the large language model generation, what it does is it takes a certain input, a certain length of input. If it's 8K, it's roughly, I suppose it's going to be 4,000 words to 6,000 words, that kind of length, because sometimes a word is made up of 2 tokens or 3 tokens or just 1 token. It depends what the word's shape is like. That means your model has a restriction of the memory. It forgets about the previous information. It will only memorize within this length. If your input, if your prompt and your system prompt did not exceed 8K token, I doubt it starts to forget about things. It could mainly coming from the scenario where the model tends to hallucinate, tends to talk about ridiculous things. Yes, Gabriel.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I'd also wondered about the tokens. So just to double check, I've understood, because I set the temperature to quite high because I thought, I want it to be really creative. But actually, I think maybe based on what you said, it might have been good to go for a lower score. Yeah, so it doesn't get so creative that it's making up stuff that is not relevant to the prompt, I suppose.
Yes, so they call it creative, but it's basically large language model being just making things up.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's why depends if you wanted to talk about the book, it needs testing, different type of testing. Temperature is one way. There is another method, which is just through prompt engineering. I don't know if you guys are familiar with different type of apps. Oh yeah, Letitia?
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to ask because I haven't got to 1.6. So I know you and Gabrielle were speaking about temperature. What specifically is temperature again, if that's okay to?
So yeah, that's a very good question. So temperature is basically not newly developed, but it was a parameter within large language model generation. When you generate a sentence, you have client.chat.completion, basically this whole line to generate your answer, right? When you send out that prompt, you can choose a parameter saying temperature between 0 to 1. You can tune it. When it comes to lower value, it basically just try to restrict to memory or what the model has memorized or some existing text it sees in the training part. But when it comes to the higher temperature, it's more creative, which means it starts to imagine things, start to having more flexibility of what the prediction would be. For me, I'm not so sure about it. I feel like it's related to the probability of the next word. So basically, what happened within the inference in large language model, it doesn't generate one word and then generate another and generate another. It generates a series of words at the same time. In one way, it actually saves GPU time because it can do, it's kind of like a batch processing. And in a second way, it actually helps to choose which is the next word, which is the third word. They can compare them in parallel. You can generate many things at the same time for your question.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. And it actually reminds me a little bit because my organization, they have their own AI and they've released a new feature where it's you can basically ask it to go really precise. Then you've got a medium level and a high level. So most likely that's where temperature would then be used, is to give you that option between AI.
Yes, I think Nabius will mention it in the inference topic. Gabriel?
I just have a question so on the topic of temperature, I think that might have been responsible for another bug that it's not really a bug, another behavior that I ran into, which is with the prompt, I told the model to write the review, and then I said, after the review, write the rating after rating in capitals. And that meant, I think I saw that technique in, I don't know if it was 1.2 or 1.3, it was somewhere where it was doing maths calculations and I was trying to mirror it. And then that meant if it consistently did that, I could take the string and I could always split the string on to separate the rating and the review. But I found that it couldn't consistently do that. I found in like 85-90% of the time it did, and in the other percentage it didn't, and I just discarded when it didn't do it. So do you think that could be to do with temperature as well?
I don't think that's related much to the temperature. It's basically that the model doesn't follow what your command said specifically. Part of the reason could be because you are using a Llama 8B or even 70B doesn't work that well. Because when I worked with Llama 70B, it doesn't do exactly what I said. I say I need to specific integer right after this word. It has to like speak this format strictly, but sometimes it doesn't do that. It's, for me, I feel like it's more about the capability of the large language model. I think it's interesting to see because in one of the, I think 1.5, I think something like that, when they were trying to find out the Lord of the Ring, what the Lord of the Ring or Star Wars person, the time is like birth date and a birth year and also the death year or something.
Yeah,
like
that's 1.4, I think.
1.4. So instead of saying strictly which year is separating with a specific type of string, did you see how they dealt with it within the script? They just extract integers. If this like 3096 exists in this chat, I will consider it to be correct. That's how they dealt with it.
Okay, I think I might have missed that bit actually. I thought I knew which part that was, but I think I'm thinking of a different part. But okay, that's good to know that it's probably the model instead of, because I didn't realize it could depend on the model.
It depends largely on the model. That's why OpenAI charges and cloud charges and large language model. Llama is free. That's one of the main reasons. And also they're saying, oh, you need to open source. Like OpenAI need to open source their model and cloud need to open source. Everyone should open source their model because they can't actually achieve the same level as what they do. That's one of the things as well. What I also want to share is actually, if you are dealing with, prompt engineering is actually very important because if we're using free prompt, if we're using free model, not free model, open source model, or this type of cheap model, it's still all right. Like you can tweak things, you can change prompts, and you can upgrade it to a probably more expensive or better or bigger model. But when it comes to a certain level, you will hit a wall, which you realize, okay, instead of changing models, I probably need to do prompt engineering. What I am sharing right now in the chat box is linked. Oh, let me make sure I'm sharing the right thing. I hope I'm sharing the right thing. The link you are looking at is probably called a system prompts and model of AI tools. So in the current market, what AI tools are doing is that it is using agent, mainly are using agent AI. What is agent AI means? What it does is you send a question into the chat box. The question goes into large language model. Large language model tells you what to do, right? Give you a list of, you should do this first, second this first, and second, and then third, you need to do this. And then in the function, in the backend function, what it does is it will link you to function 1. Step 1 links you to function 1. Step 2 links you to function 2. Step 3 links you to function 3. That is what agent AI is talking about, function tools. Like, it's also called function tools. Yes. Letitia?
Just to double check, you know, agent AI, is that chatbots? Are those chatbots?
Oh,
or are they different?
Agent AI is a type of how do I explain it? It's kind of a new concept. It's a type of AI application, large language model application.
Okay.
Agent AI is the name of everything. AI tools are large language model. If you consider chatbots, just chatbots, OpenAI, ChatGPT chatbots, you ask a question, it gives you answer.
Yeah, the output.
AI. Agent AI are related to function calling.
Okay.
It's called tool calling. No matter what type of tool it is. Let's say you have your phone. You talk to your phone, or you write a text message to your phone. If the text message went through large language model, generate some results, it can answer you. It can also do other things. Let's say you talk to your large language or AI tool. You talk to your AI within your phone. Say that, can you set me an alarm at 7 o'clock tomorrow? It's not the language get you to set alarm. It is a function within your phone setting that alarm. The text returned by large language model realize this is a command to actually try to set alarm. It will trigger the corresponding command. So this movement, this type of action is considered to be agent AI. So that's what agent AI means. The reason I mentioned agent AI is because the current AI tools in the market, the majority of the AI tools in the market use either RAG or AI tools. They all use agent AI now. Like, it's kind of inevitable. It would definitely go this way because you can use the language to do all sorts of tasks, calling functions, or set certain tasks, move things, turn on your lights, set up alarm, or open up a software for you. That's what it goes. But what's important in that case, when it comes to finally tweaking this type of text, it talks about prompt engineering. What, like, let's say, like what Gabriel said, like you want to generate reviews, give you a score. It doesn't do it very well. Part of the reason is because the model. Part of the reason is probably because the prompt engineering. It needs to be very finely tweaked to make sure it gives you exactly what you want to do. I'll use the example of Cursor. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Cursor. Cursor is a type of IDE which is very similar to VS Code. It uses chatbots to help you write code. You tell it what you want to do, it writes the code for you. That's what it does. Yeah.
It's just to double check. So AI agents or agent AI, they use function calling, and is that what you were saying?
Yes, the major part is called function, tool calling, function calling. I think there's lots of names. I think they mixed up. These are all new terms being generated. Past at the end of 2024. That they are new terms. So you can call them whatever you want, but slowly people would start to call the same thing. So I think in the beginning of large language model, I call them function tool calling. And then they start to talk about agent AI. I was like, isn't that just function tool calling? It's just like really good at function tool calling. It can call several functions as well. And then right now the name is agent AI now. It's not function tool calling because it's not cool enough, apparently. That's how I felt like. Apparently it's not cool enough. So agent AI sounds so much cooler, and it's a new term. No one knows. They'll be like, oh, what are these cool things? We'll definitely use it in our new company startup. So that's how I felt like it existed it existed last year, early last year, even 2023, I think, probably before that.
Yeah.
But it gets popular from end of last year. Because it started to get better. Because before, I think I tried it in 2024. It doesn't actually call the function whenever I want it, but right now it call it like definitely I'll say 95% of the time if I'm using the good model. If I'm using the small and cheap model, it still doesn't do that. So you need to be very careful. Prompt engineering is one of the major things. So let's say agent prompt. I can show you guys how. So it's still the same GitHub. I'm sharing a new link. I'm just using that as an example. What you are looking at in this page is their system prompt. That's how much effort you need to go to the system prompt to make sure it gives you exactly what you want to do. And I think they're using, when you're using that, look, powered by Cloud 3.7, it's expensive model. It says, well, first it says, oh, what you are. And then it says, okay, you are pair programming with the user to solve their coding task. I think there are certain areas, say, I think I saw it says that do not answer anything apart from coding task. I think it was somewhere, either this or a chat prompt. So agent prompt is the prompt they request the large language model to find the tools to use. So you can say they call it tool calling right here. On line 9, you have tools at your disposal. They have these tools actually at the backend, not within the prompt, but they have the tools written in the function style, which actually change the code in the editor. So they have other functions which it can call and give it the parameters it needs to have and evaluate the results. Something like line 13 says, never refer to tool name when speaking to user. Yes.
Sorry, where is it? Or is it okay if you can share your screen to have a look at it, if that's okay?
Sure. It's a last link I shared. Let me.
Yeah. Is it line which? Yeah, I'm on there, but I don't know where line 13 is because it just takes it straight to the GitHub. If that makes sense.
Okay. Let me see. You guys see? Yep. Okay. So when it comes to line 13, I'm talking about this one. That's a very interesting thing because they use the double star to emphasize it. This is not something I see. Never and up capital apparently make a difference. Never tell the user which tool you are using. So they actually do tool calling, but they don't want to show you which tool they're using. And only calls tools when they are necessary. So you can see there are, and also searching and reading. It says, okay, in some scenario, you might need to search and read. So this is what you do. And you must use the following format when citing code regions or blocks. So if you can try the similar prompt on a different model, but you will run into some problems. First problem would be, what is the token number for the model? Because I feel like this is probably going to exceed 8K. Even the system probably is going to exceed 8K. But you can try it. Maybe just delete some part of it. Gabriel?
To double check, is this prompt, so instead of responding with text, this is a prompt for the agent, the AI agent, to create code. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Not only it creates, it also needs to answer you. It's like when you ask a question, not only you want to see the result, you want to see the analysis procedure, you want to have an answer, having a conversation. So it doesn't just do chat, or it doesn't just do a functioning calling or tool calling. It also give you a chat.
Okay, so it's doing both.
Yeah, it's doing both.
Both. Okay. It's interesting how specific it is in terms of what it doesn't want, what the prompt doesn't want the agent to do, and what it does want it to do. It really, it's good to see how like granular it is about like never do this, only do that.
Yes.
It is useful to see.
It's like very specific. I think someone, Stan mentioned in last Q&A session, saying that being very polite to the large language model doesn't make a difference. But to be honest, like recently, I think I read a paper which they are claiming that being polite to the large language model sometimes get them what they want. You never know. It's kind of testing procedure. So the whole prompt engineering is someone actually trying different ways of talking to the large language model, trying to get the best results. Another method could be the one which mentioned in, I think 1.3 or 1.4, where you can do this kind of iteration process to ask the large language model to train on your system prompt, to improve on your system prompt to make it better as well. So maybe you can use a better model to train on your system prompt and use that trained system prompt on a smaller model. So over here, when prompt says you must use the following format, for a Cloud 3.7, I think it will work. But on a Llama 3.18b, I don't think it's going to follow the strict format. Or maybe it will, and if you try a smaller model or a worse model, it's probably not going to follow the strict format. Even you say you must use this. So this is a prompt part. I believe with Cursor, which is the software, they would probably use another function to filter out the result, because if they probably run into such problems, it might have existing code, it doesn't follow this strict format. So maybe what they could do is they can try to find these like code block sign, and then find the code within it, run something else to clean it up, and then show you the existing code. This could happen as well. We don't know what they're doing. So if you look at the chat prompt, it will be quite, chat prompt has a tool calling as well. So they're using tool as well. Search and reading. The difference between chat and agent is, within chat is probably just doing tool calling, says what you need to change, but it doesn't change for you. So that might be the main difference. It's like, I'm suggesting this is a change you need to do, but I'm not changing in your code. You need to change it yourself. So that's the two sections within it. So, and also it could give a few formats of how it should work. Or code-based search, something like that. So yeah, this is with the prompt engineering.
That's really interesting to see. Because I'm quite new to knowing what different models are, how do you know which ones are the better ones and which ones are I guess, I don't want to say the worst ones, but I mean, how do you know which ones are better?
We probably can't find a worse one, because there is always a worse one.
Yeah.
But with the best model, there's always some way to find it. So personally, I follow some benchmark closely. Let me see. I think this is Let me see if I am looking at the right bench. One of the benchmark is called SWE, which is software engineering benchmark. That's, oh yeah, okay, let me share this. So there are a few places you can find benchmark. This is one of them. I think in 1.6 or 1.5. Nebius also mentioned there is another benchmark called Arena AI, but that was a little bit interesting because I raised the question that the in the field, we know the best code writing model is Claude 3.7. There is no question about that. That is the model you use. Partly is from personal experience. When I talk to different person, they will say that, yeah, this is definitely the best model for specific purpose, software engineering, write your code. That is the best. The next one is probably Claude 3.5. Different way, because so this is the software engineering benchmark leaderboard. I'm checking open source system, having a look of the full value, and you can see what it does is it is using the agent, using this large language model, and going through the software engineer agent to fix code, to fix bugs, or write code. Solved 33.8% of the questions within the data set. So this is the current, I would say, most popular code writing benchmark. But that doesn't mean Claude 3.7 works the best in other field. When it comes to maybe document generating, personally, I don't like what Claude 3.7 gave me for writing a document. I still use ChatGPT for that. They are going to be different benchmarks. So it depends on what kind of purpose you want. You can choose a different large language model. But in general, GPT-4 and Cloud 3.5, 3.7 are the best. But they are also the most expensive one, which is also the case why a lot of AI tools, which they use to give you a lot of free tier, and you can use them for free, and you can use like these large models a lot. Like you can make like 1,000 calls per month, but then now they're restricting it. They're like, you can't make that many calls to these big model. You choose some small model, and or will automatically transfer you to a smaller model. So that's comes with a price as well.
Okay, that's really useful to know. I hadn't heard of SWE bench. So yeah, no, thank you.
This is one of the, I think, the most popular one. Let me see. Let me see. Is it called next? Sorry, I think. Oh no, sorry. This is some other things I was checking. Yeah. So this is benchmark. I also want to ask everyone's idea about does everyone prefer the idea about having a breakout room to have a small group discussion about your progress and sharing your work, or do you prefer in a large group and sharing everything? Or you can share that. If you don't feel like talking about it, you can send a message in the group as well. Or any is fine, because we have 30 minutes left. We can have 10 minutes breakout room. having a discussion, sharing your progress, maybe sharing some of your work, and like any would be fine. So what I would do, because based on our poll results, lecture style be possible. We can make the study group lecture style. I don't think we will be able to cover that much. Probably one chapter or two chapters, or just talking randomly, like what we are currently doing today. If you have a question, I can talk a little bit about what I know about the current what the current field is like, or current trend is like. And I want to see if anyone are interested in breakout room at all. If I don't get an answer for breakout room, we can skip these 10 minutes for breakout room. I can continue talking about some of the work within the topic one.
Ying, I think since we are only 10 people, I don't think we need breakout rooms. We can continue this way. I don't know how others feel.
I think that will work. Okay, anyone has other questions? I can also okay. Perfect. One thing I would like to share, if I don't see a question, what I would add was something which is also mentioned in the Nebius topic one course, is called Copilot Arena, I think. I'm actually still not familiar with this concept of Copilot, because I think I know one of the GitHub is using Copilot, which is kind of automatic agent AI for writing codes. So in this case, this Copilot seems to be related to writing codes, but it's also used for this. It's another benchmark, which I think slightly different. Let me see. It's called LLM-Arena.ai. So let me see if I can share my screen again and see. So there are different benchmarks. Benchmark is not defined by someone. It's defined by many people, actually, many companies, many organizations, and they all want to have their own benchmark. So researchers would come to their benchmark, use their model, test on their data set, and check the results on their benchmark, saying that, oh, I complete benchmark of 35% pass rate, 60% of pass rate. If the benchmark get popular, get famous, it's kind of will make the company or the organization which created this benchmark, which benchmark comes with data set as well, to be popular in the field as well. In this case, you will see many benchmarks. Yes, Letitia.
I think it can be a dumb question, but I know you keep saying benchmarks. When you say benchmarks, is it a standard that everyone's trying to get up to, or what is it specifically when you're referring to it?
So I'll ignore this. Benchmark is not really related to this one. So what benchmark is, imagine there are probably, like, let's say 1,000 universities or 1,000 different research and facilities are building their own model. And then everyone claim my model is the best. How can you compare them? You can't compare them. How do you compare them is, there will be some organization says I have collected, let's say, large amount of data set, like imagine ImageNet or Coco, these type of data set has let's say 5 million or 20 million image. Like when you do authentication through Google, it choose all the motorcycles in this image. You're doing labeling for them, and choose like traffic lights. Like they're getting harder and harder even for human now. So basically, they have this data set with label data. It can be image, it can be language. And for a large language model, what they have is they have a set of questions. They have a set of answers. This is the best answer, or this is a way. Or for a software engineer part, it's like, this is a question. This is my testing code. If your function pass my testing code, pass my testing function or whatever, run it smoothly with the set of parameters and results, then it will pass. A little bit like lead code. If you guys try the lead code or hyperrank, that kind of things, it does it, right? All you need to do is write your code. Imagine large language model generates a piece of code, and this code goes into lead code and says you failed. Then it doesn't work. So what it does is, what is the question? The question in the lead code is the data set, is one sample in the data set. So in this case, let's say one organization says, test my data set. You can try on certain ones, you can test on certain ones. The test ones are not going to be shown to you, or it's going to be reserved. What you will do is, you have to train your model on certain type of data set, and then you test it on this small amount of reserved test set. You get your result, and this result will be published on leaderboard. And this is the benchmark we're talking about. This benchmark for this specific test set. Now, every model is comparing on the same data set. You are trained on the same data set. You are tested on the same data set. Then it's very easy to compare because you are in the same condition. What is different might be how long you trained it for, what kind of GPU you are using. Well, it's based on everyone's financial ability, right? So it's not really related to the accuracy of it. So this is what the benchmark talks about. For different things, there are different benchmark. So there's also another saying talking about, in the current field, lots of companies are targeting on the benchmark. They are trying to achieve the best result, to work on the test set. Some test sets are released, some test sets are not released. In that case, the company might exhaust all the computing power to try to make sure, like, they can run it 1,000 times to find the best result. It's kind of having the data leaking from the test set to the training data set. So for some companies or organizations, they update it as well. That's why you would see, okay, OpenAI, well, that's also because their model are good, but like they make a small improvement on the leaderboard on this specific benchmark, and they claim, okay, my model beats the others. It's a little bit like, Llama 4. When Llama 4 first got announced, it's saying that, oh, I beat this model and that model. In the end, there was a leakage. It turns out they were actually either faking some of the data or actually leaked the test set to actually get themselves up the band. I think there was a news about it. I think they took it back or started to improve it, like in different ways. I remember Llama 4 wasn't that good in the end. So that's about benchmark. What I'm trying to show is a different type of benchmark. This is a different way of comparing. What they're doing is chatbot arena. Have a chat with them, choose which model you like better, and this website compares it for you. what I'm looking at is looking at the leaderboard. Oh, in the language, there is basically this is a rank of which model works the best. Yeah, Gemini 2.5 Pro, I'm very surprised. I did not know Gemini 2.5 Pro works that good. That's very interesting. So that's also depends on whether how much you trust it. What actually caused my question was I was checking this Copilot Arena, which is talking about how good they are. It's another benchmark for, well, not kind of like a benchmark or a ranking or leaderboard for coding. SWE is like the one everyone uses, like commonly recognized, like that's the one I knew about. This Copilot Arena is something I did not know exists until I read the script. I read the notebook. It's talking about DeepSeek. I was like, 3.7 wasn't even there. Like, why? Don't know, maybe it's old. Maybe SWE is so popular, people doesn't care about Copilot Arena anymore. Who knows? 3.7 was definitely not there. And DeepSeek 2.5 apparently beats 3.5, Cloud 3.5. I don't know. I can't remember. I think V2.5, DeepSeek V2.5 charges as well, I think. But yeah, something to get you an idea about, okay, which model is better, which model improving. They could change overnight, like depends on well, I follow the news, LinkedIn news to see, okay, if one of the company actually made a big improvement, they will announce it everywhere. It's like, I don't even need to search for Cloud 3.7. Like it's all on my social media. Probably I followed such things, but at the same time, Cloud 3.7 was announced everywhere. So I was like, oh, okay, 3.7 works so much better on the SWE. So yeah, that's everything. Yeah, thank you, everyone. In that case, I think everyone prefer the style. If we have a smaller group, everyone prefer this type of style with a little bit like conversation, question and answer, and talking a little bit about the trend in the field and talking a little bit about the lecture style. This could be the structure of our next study group. Yeah. Do we have any other questions? All right. If that's the case, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you. And looking forward to see you guys in tomorrow's Q&A session when Nebius answers more questions.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.